Can you see my screen?
I can see it. Yep.
Sweet. All right, well, it's 10. I mean, we can start, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay, welcome to Valence Developer Diaries number 48. Today we're going to go over high-level overview of some of the features of 6.4 that we just released on June 30th. And we're going to do a more of a detailed overview of one of the new Nitro App Builder widgets, which is the data chat.
yeah, and I think following week we'll, dig in more to some of the concepts we show here as well.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, so we think that it's gonna take time to go through those. So we're gonna chunk these out. And of course, if anybody has any questions or whatever, feel free to jump on the chat. Let us know. We could, this is kind of open form. All right. So this is the Valence portal. It does look a little different because, right, Sean, we did theming changes from
Yeah.
that
So
four.
yeah, so there's, just you'll see, immediately just some a different look and feel. Functionality wise, everything still works the same. We just
Right.
updated the look a bit.
So let's
So
first
yeah.
go.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. I'm
Yeah,
gonna throw
maybe
something
let's
out there.
let's start with App Builder,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna probably hit everything in here, but I think one of the biggest changes for 6.4 is really the Valence Assistant, which we had in 6.3, but it's just been vastly improved. So maybe a good example of that would be in adding a data source, and if you've used it before in 6.3, you can if you remember when you prompted it, it asked you for all of your files up front, and then you would hit continue, and then you would ask something, and it was just a one shot.
Right.
Get a SQL statement. You had no idea if it works or not. If it didn't work, you had to go back and forth. So now, Johnny just clicked there.
It's
It's
up here.
available on the right there. And we're not prompting for files because you can just reference a file in here, or you may not even be sure about a file. Like, for example, if Johnny were to just ask, I'm looking for a list of customers, um, should be smart enough to say, well, all right, well, let me take a look at your database that you have access to based on your environment and see, are any of these your customer files? And yeah, like we're looking at demo CMAS. So if you click demo CMAS, now it will run that and it'll give us a preview right away in line
Yep.
with data. So if it works, and you could look at the data and go, oh, that's not quite what I'm looking for.
And I guess I'd like to also state when this is happening, none of the data from within the tables is being passed down to the AI assistant. It's just the metadata of the tables. So the fields, the field types, lengths, the descriptions of the field, if you have good descriptions to make some, decisions.
Right. Yeah. We, that SQL statement and that data is run from the back end and then injected into this chat to make it look as if the chat sent it back to you.
Yes.
Um,
There
so
was a
that,
question, real quick, sorry to interrupt, but a tool's asking in 6.3, we had option to disable the assistant. Is that still possible in 6.4?
yes.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. You can still disable it.
Yeah. Same option in settings. So that is, you can go, obviously much more complicated here, but we just, the flow is exactly the same. So that's uh, that's one part.
Yes.
Um, there you go. Maybe we quickly show the documentation features.
Yeah, I just turned on examples so we have some app. Um, So we're in the apps section, and one of the new things is documentation.
So documentation is two tiers, user documentation, and then on the left-hand side, you'll see technical documentation. So you could provide additional instructions if you wanted to, but I think we just click generate
Yep.
and it will create documents. So, unless it's probably obvious, but the difference between the user documentation, the technical documentation, user is more from the user side of how do I do this? And in this case, we're documenting the orders app. How do I look up an order? How do I add a new order? The user doesn't care about the data source, SQL behind it, the app variables or that sort of thing. Whereas the technical documentation we do. So maybe we start the technical document
Yep.
as well.
And the same thing, additional instructions. We also can provide RPG program if needed. I'm just gonna generate.
Yeah.
And here we go. The user one is up.
So all the documentation is going to follow the same format where, on the left-hand side, you'll have a menu and, that you can click to. But you can see here, it's more concerned on, how do I view orders by status? Okay. Based on the application, it's documented.
Adding a new order.
If you wanted to, save this, you would click save. So next time you go in documentation, you would see this right away. And then you could download it as well up at the top right there.
Yes.
Maybe you wanted to put it on your IFS or store it locally, or you might even want to embed it in your application if you wanted to.
Right.
The documentation feature should be disabled if Atul's asking if you have
Oh, yeah,
AI
because
disabled.
it
Yep.
uses Valence Assistant to
Yep.
generate the document. So if you turn it off, then it's a blanket turn off across the board.
So let's see the difference between the technical documentation. So here you could see, we're talking about widgets, RPG programs, sections, and then there'll be flows rather than, how-tos. Here's our app variables. And what happens when I click that late orders KPI? Well, we set some app variables and event fires. A listener happens, which does the following. So to kind of help you get a better lay of the land of your app, because previously you're right, you're looking in
Digging in.
behaviors, you're clicking it, then drilling into that behaviors tree, and it was just hard to kind of figure out what's going on. So
Indeed.
yeah, if you go down to data
Data
sources,
source.
I think we put their statements out there. No child applications. So that is the documentation.
All right.
Um, Maybe we go into the data chat widget a bit.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I know we can show that. So we have the example apps that we've always had. There's one that's orders, and that has been updated to use the new data chat widget.
Yeah,
And
it might be interesting, Johnny, is well, yeah, maybe we show it first. So
yeah,
we implemented it here with that slide out on the right. And this data chat widget is just like any other widget, just like a grid, like a form. It's based off a data source. Um, so in this case, which we'll show you the data source next, this data source has the customer master, the order master, and I should say the order header and the order detail.
yeah,
Okay. So we can ask anything about orders, customers, order details.
KPIs.
So Johnny just said here, like, hey, give me some KPIs, based on the data that you have access to. So kind of just gave some KPIs that, we think would be most helpful. You'll notice, and this is a setting in the data chat, there's some follow-up questions that were added, like, well, can you these are just, based on what you ask, maybe you want to know these things. Like let's see the top 10 customers and total sales. Now we don't have to, click one of these, but
No.
you'll see it's giving us a breakdown now. If I wanted to, I can change the display on that. Like if we click that little, maybe I want to see it as a pie.
No, we'll do it as a column.
As a table, and I could download this data as well.
Yes. And I guess this is another point, I guess I just want to keep on pushing really hard is that this data chat also does not share any data from the tables to
Right.
the LLM.
It's just the
There's
metadata.
just the metadata. And when we go through this, you have how you set up your data source is what you drive, what metadata that the AI assistant can see. And it's just metadata, again, meaning field name, type, description, but no data from a table. Just want to ram that in really hard.
So let's see, and then maybe just ask some other question like,
Yeah.
like show me, you know, customers in Chicago, that have at least three orders or something. I don't know. So here are our Chicago customers.
And I guess the other thing that we can talk about right here too is if you're using the data chat widget within your app, you can link to
It
from a
can talk
click.
to
It
other
can talk to
components
your
in your
other
app.
app. So I'm going to click on Kitty World.
Oh.
That was a bad example. I'm on my test machine. Okay, never mind. This is our demo. When you click on it, you can then go to sections. It's just like if you clicked a grid or a chart that can just link through. So you'd have access to the customer that was clicked if a customer was clicking, etc. Now I
Um,
think we dive into
yeah, let's
the
let's look at
widget
that.
itself.
Yeah, and let's see that data source first too,
All
just
right.
because this data source is unique. You would never create typically a data source like this. In this case, all we're doing is we are just saying, give me everything from, files A, B, and C, basically. We're just taking all the fields. This data source is never really going to run in this format because the data chat widgets, we're just using this to provide metadata. Like here, this is what you have access to, which you'll see when we
Tables,
configure
these.
the data chat.
Yes.
Those joins. Um, the point is typically what we're, in our use cases so far, we're creating data sources where we're just saying, hey, I want to give you access to the following tables. And then you'll see now if we go into the data chat widget that we can further slim that down as well. So we gave it access to, everything in VXCO detail, the header, the customers.
Yep.
So, you can uncheck things here, okay, if you wanted
So
to.
these are the only field, like table field metadata that will be exposed.
Right. So if I were to, not give access to order number or something, and then I were to ask the data chat, hey, what orders does customer 123 have? It would come back and say, I don't know. I don't have access to orders.
Right.
So first part, super simple. Well, what fields do you want to give it access to? Next, configure. Same old
Standard
thing,
title.
title, subtitle, start message, optional. That's just what you see. Let's chat about orders. Instructions. So we can give additional instructions here. So in this case, we did. We just told it about different statuses. We said, hey, we're not going to put this in a full width format. So, try and just be wary of that. And, just as a test, we said, don't do any column charts. I don't know why we put that in there. It's just a test, but just
Right.
to mess
Or a
around.
demo box. But when you talked about, I just was like the whole full width, and that was because we knew that we're sliding out and we're only allowing it a certain amount of width.
So we're like, say, so basically what that'll do is say, well, all right, if I'm sending you a table, I'm not going to put out 30 columns. I'll try and
Mhm.
be concise.
Right.
Um, Maybe a good example here would be if you were to just go in and type a two-character state code of like CA for California and just hit enter. So it did give us customers in CA, it figured out, I don't know, maybe you want customers in CA, but maybe if we put in our instructions and say, hey, anytime I put a two-state, if the user happens to put in a two-state character code, show me all the orders for that state. And you'll just see how it will, behave differently. So now if we hit type CA, I'd expect we would get a different result. So now
Yep.
we're seeing orders. Now, additionally, if we go to chat options really quickly,
I'm only gonna move this Zoom thing. Okay.
one of the options we have clicked already is allow user instructions. Okay. So let's just go back into our chat and hit that slash. So if you click my instructions, these are instructions that the user can provide themselves. So it'll just remember how they like to talk to the widget. Maybe they want to put their own rules in. Okay. So I guess now that we're already in here, suggest follow-up questions, right? That's where we were seeing those follow-up questions. You could turn that off. Drill down on click. So if Johnny were to click one of these rows, now we're going to see, details for, well, a PO. Allow download, allow chart type change. Those are the things that you see where he hovered over and said he can change the type of widget that he wants to see.
Right.
Um, the last part is guardrails. So just like any other of our, our template programs, we have a template program for this as well. And this, you would use this if, hey, user Frank only has access to company number 2. Okay. So what this does is this gives you a procedure, and you can, write your own though, but just like any other template program, you can put whatever you want in here. But we create a procedure to create a CTE. And if you look at this, if you page down or scroll down, so we're dealing, this will pass us the tables that are going to be used in your SQL statement. And then you can put your own where conditions in here based on a user or, whatever the condition is. So then those results will be further limited to that. If that made any sense.
Yes.
Um, so that's the data chat.
Data chat.
One other thing to point out, if we would go back to configure, or I'm sorry, not configure, the fields. And we'll do something on this later. All the way on the right, if you hover over that AI access field, I think we have a tooltip there that comes out on the column.
Oh, on the header.
So if you check this, then you are saying, okay, I want to give AI access to the actual data behind this field. Okay. And you might say, so just keep in mind that's totally different than what's clicked on the left-hand side. That's just saying, hey, look, give access to the metadata, allow it to know about a field name line number in table VXCODTL. That's a 9-digit field. Okay. Whereas this is saying, look, I want the AI to actually have access to, line number 1, 2, and 3. I want it to know that there's a 1 and a 2 and a 3. So why would I ever want to do that? Um, and the reason that you would, potentially want to do this is if we go into the app now. So if we go into our application in App Builder, and let's go to that one that yeah, and let's just go into behaviors and take a look at that data chat widget. And if we drop the oh, you're in why are you not
You want
in?
me to go to the actual widget itself then?
No, it was in it's like it's not in, oh, this is locked by you. Oh, it could be because you don't have it enabled on anything. I think we'll cover this in the next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
But
think that needs its own deep discussion because you're talking
yeah.
about data.
But basically you can add tools to your data chat widget to allow it to do things to call the back end and then call the same old, button click NAB BTN based programs because you might say, hey, update all customers in the city of Chicago to zip code 12345, things like that. We'll do a dedicated one on that one.
And I think it's worth stating, well, let me just, where's my customer explorer? Um, how things have changed within here
Yes.
because it's changed
Direct. Yeah.
dramatically. So,
So you go on. I'm sorry.
so this is where you see your layout, right? And you see your section. So this is all the same. This is where you access app variables. So app variables still look, it's just how you're accessing it. Um, behaviors, and then
And
behaviors are
behaviors are
broken
broken
out.
out. Yep.
Yep, by section, and then app. This is theming. And then there is a Valence Assistant within the app itself too, which you could chat and make changes, do add variables and so forth.
One
Um,
other thing too is we no longer have, like, if you go into behaviors, um, we no longer have that okay, save and save. Those of you who use App Builder a lot know that when you make a change in behaviors, you got to hit okay, you got to save it, and then you got to save the app. There's just one save now. So save
yeah.
just
So
saves
if you're
up.
saving it, this is saving the app. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do. You just switch around. You don't have to hit what Sean was saying, that save one. You're in behaviors.
If you go back there, yep, to the app section. And then the other thing that's changed too is if you hover over, you'll see like these have changed too now, like settings. If you go to settings for one of these, it slides out now and it doesn't, before it used to change the far left form and then you had to hit OK to dismiss it. So
Yeah.
now you just click off. You just click away. And then the same thing with app or
Well,
link and widget properties.
but inside here has changed dramatically too, I think. But
Yes. I wonder if we can find a better one that has, like, maybe go to your grid.
there we go.
So now you could easily search. Like I want to refresh the grid. So I can just type in there refresh and find that right away. It'll show you initially all of the properties that you have linked. In this case, we only have one.
One.
So you could just find it right away. So much easier to navigate through this now.
Yes.
We hope. At least we think it is.
Um,
Another thing that's changed is you can now do live previews. So if you click this live preview, this is going to open up another tab that's going to constantly update itself based on what you're doing in here. Okay. So if we open that, um, I wonder, Johnny, can you drag that out and then make your screen side by side?
it's gonna look wonky.
Might not look the best, but
No, it's gonna look.
but you'll get an idea. So like go ahead and type in your app art title, like change the app art title.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. Trying to make it nuts.
So you'll see right away on the right-hand side, it'll update if I, move widgets or like we're going to move this one or so this way you can you can test your app and you can do clicks and everything
Without
um,
saving.
exactly before you save it. Go ahead and change like a theme, maybe, change start messing with the colors. Okay. So live preview. If you exit, so if he exits his app now, it'll automatically close that. Okay. So it knows it's linked there. Yeah, I mean, I guess
I think that's a good.
for app builder, that's
Yeah,
you know, throughout app builder, anywhere where the assistance app, that's all changed, where you can see previews or immediate feedback of what you're doing.
right. All right. Should we move to the VS Code?
Sure.
High level overview of it. So with 6.4, we introduced a VS Code extension. Um, it's on Visual Studio Marketplace. This is just the brief overview of it, which you would see in VS Code if you go to the extension and then say you want to install it. I already have it installed. So right away you can have one-to-many connections. So you can connect to your one-to-many instances, development, QA, testing, production. All it requires when you're adding is just description for you to know, then the URL, right? The port, or if you don't have a port because you're forwarding it on, and then just the user that you're connecting with. Once you connect, it will, or attempt to connect, and you've never connected before, it's going to ask you for your password. That password is stored securely on your OS. It's not saved anywhere. It's just secure on the Mac or Windows using their chains. And let's connect. 5064, sure. So the first thing you'll see on the left is we've got some actions up here, and I'll do a brief overview of those in a second. Okay, who I'm logged in as, the current Valence version, the my OS version, and then we have these trees of data source and widgets, and then your application, NAB applications. Then from here, you can actually expand and see more about those apps. So I can expand orders and I can see the widgets that are in that app. um, Order form. On the form, I see, okay, every widget has a data source, so we can see the data source. We can drill into the data source. We can see the columns that it has, the tables. For forms, well, which fields are editable on this form? I can quickly see these are the fields that are editable on this form. Properties, meaning, okay, like what properties have you linked to? The link properties. So clear all data is valid. And this is the form. And each widget, you can drill down and see those kind of high level information on it. Okay, yeah,
Hey,
RPG. Go
hey,
ahead.
Johnny, I'm just adding a little
Do it.
commentary here. So really that like when he expanded on those editable fields in the form, this has been, a pain for me a lot. Like, I'm working on a back end program and, for a form, let's say I'm pulling in data and I'm going to save something. I'm going back and forth. I'm saying, oh, what are the names of these fields that are editable?
Yeah,
Let me go here and look, and let me go into the form and see what they are. I don't need to do that anymore. Now I can just view it right from here, right next to my code.
right. RPG calls that are in there, the very app variables that are in the app.
Another big one too. I'm going back and forth on the front end all the time. What's the name of that app variable? Is it passed down to me? You know?
Right. Even okay, this has an expression attached to that variable, so I can quickly see that. Um, think that's it for like the tree itself. I guess we should pause real. Is there any questions? I haven't looked at the chat, but
No, none in
okay.
the chat at
All
least.
right. Well, feel free to ask questions. Um, let's go here. Let me get out of here.
Yeah, Lucas just asked. So yeah, all of that is informational, but um,
What did you ask?
maybe that's what we're going to show next is, I can actually click on any of these widgets and I can start to edit them right from here.
Right. Let me go to Customer Explorer, uh, data chat. If I right click it, I can open an NAB editor.
So still even more, less going back and forth to the front end and the back
Right.
end.
So I'm not going to change anything or save anything, but so yes, you can do that. Data source, the same thing. Data source, you can view the SQL on it, the data source. Um, we also have, let me do it. I'll do it on orders, maybe. Oh, I'm just doing a Customer Explorer. There's not much going on in that one though. There is a app map. Well, I guess let me just do the high level over. Launch the app. That makes sense, right? You're just launching the application. Open in the NAB editor. So that means you're editing the application because I'm at the app level. Um, the app map, this, I will load this. This gives you a information about the whole application. So structure, so okay, my main section, it has a vertical layout. Here are forms, KPIs. We have within that, you can click here too to see the SQL behind that data source. Inflows, it just says that, okay, well, the search firm goes and search for orders, right? So that's a flow. Interactions, there's a button that then calls, validate, search order, on success, what does it do, etc. And that's all based on all of the widgets that we see here. Um, it's kind of like a heat map too, because you'll see a little bit of darker blue if they have more flows going to it, so you can see higher activity. Oh, and I see there's chat. Are we good,
That
chat?
was me. I'm just
Oh,
answering a question.
okay. And from here too, you can launch the app, you can open it to edit it. We also have flows. So this gives you, try to, I don't know how that visualization.
There's a lot going on in this
Yeah, and
application.
like I'm just giving a really high level, like we're going to deep dive into this. So I'm not just, you know, so there's flows and this is the flow of the application. And I can see what's happening
What happens when I
visually.
click a customer
Right.
list real quick? What happens?
Sets the app variable, app bar new title equal to name orders.
So kind of similar to the documentation that showed this
Project.
flow, but you see it here, even more detailed.
Right. Um, yeah, so I don't want to get too deep in this because this could take a
Yeah,
while. So I'm just going to close that unless there's any questions. So feel free to ask a question at any point. All right. So that was that. I'm going to go to the top right up here real quick. So switch, that just means you're switching connections. You have multiple connections for the extension and you want to switch to I don't know, your test instance or quality control. Um, we'll leave that for last. Portal, this is just saying I want to get to the portal. So we're just in the portal within VS Code. Fusion. So this is I want to access Fusion.
so hopefully, another reason to not have to keep tabbing through multiple windows. I've got my
Right.
5250 session, I've got my Valence session, I've got my code all up in one spot.
Right. This is just disconnect. You're disconnecting from this connection, and then you'd get back to that list of if you have more than one connection. Um, assistant usage. So this is going to show. based on the Valence Assistant for your install, not per instance. What is the usage? And then we have within here, we have documentation. We're trying to keep up with it. So there is documentation. You can search for it and everything. This is specific to the VS Code extension. And again, we're going to go through like deep dives in other developer diaries with all this stuff. So don't want to get too crazy. Um, so those are all those three. I will let me just talk about it. Sean, I'm not diving into it. There is test suites. So what you could do, and we will have another developer diaries going through this, but you can add NAB applications that, like for this connection, it's production. Let's just say it's a bad, like I would have it for like, let's say QA. I'm in QA, I add a test suite QA, and then I can point to another instance or connection that you have, which would be production, and then it will run tests saying, I'm running the app in your one connection, let's say QA, and then I'm running the app in production, that same app. Are there differences? Like, are there missing widgets? Are interactions not happening? And so you can run tests that way. Also, the idea of this is you get a new Valence update. Let's say you updated your development instance. You haven't updated prod. So it's an older Valence version. It's like, it's still 6.4, but it's an older Valence version. You could run those tests and be like, well, I applied the update that came from Valence. It's 6.4 July build. Production is 6.4 June build. Do we see any problems here? And that is in case there's a bug that is released by us.
What are
So
you
that's
talking
another
about? Bug?
what was that?
A bug released by us? Why would we do that?
I don't know. But we'll go through that in another session because that one's another big one that takes some time. The other thing is there is a Valence Assistant built in with the VS Code extension. So if I click chat, now by default, when you click the chat button, it's going to show as a panel on the left. You can drag that. I don't like it on the left within here, so I previously dragged mine to the right, and then it just knows to stay that way. Um, and this is another one that we're, you know, going to do a full developer diaries on it, but you can, plan applications, ask questions about how to do a data source and joining. Like these are just little simple examples. By default, NAB agent is going to be turned on. There is just regular agent, which is just I'm generally just chatting about my IBMI RPG programs maybe, and you're not creating something in NAB or working with something in NAB. We have a plan mode. That's if I'm planning to build a NAB application. I'm updating a NAB app. I'm converting a 5250 to a NAB application. It's marked as beta, which hopefully that will be flagged off soon. We have history clear. You can have a new one, so you get multiple chats. Um, I think that's all I'm going to say on that right now because we could spend tons of time.
Yeah. Johnny, two things I want to show back to the
Do it.
browser, to the Valence, regular Valence, I should say. Yes. Can you go to Portal Admin as well in here? So in Portal Admin, there is a Valence Assistant section in here as well, where you can see, the usage. Our usage is set to unlimited because this is our development system. We have no limits. But if you look to the bottom left too, this is where you can provide additional instructions that are, just throughout, like for data source when creating SQL statements, like, you can provide additional instructions here. For example, you might put something like, hey, customers equals table XYZ, orders equals table one, two, three, so that way it's just smart enough to know, like, oh, orders. All right, I'm not going to even prompt you. I know the table you're talking about.
Right.
Or you could say, hey, anytime you see a date field or an 80 field that's specified as a date, convert it to a ISO date, those sorts of things. So any of these you can put further instructions. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is the documentation. So the documentation is completely redone here
Boom.
and it's totally up to date. So if we go into
Does this thing have it though?
oh, go into Portal Admin. I think I have it disabled, and we probably have like we just don't want to show much in here.
Oh,
We probably have it disabled. Guides. I think it's in
guides.
guides probably.
It's
Enabled.
enabled.
Yeah, why isn't it showing in here? Maybe if we just go to I might have that whole section disabled. Maybe just go to Dev 6.4 just to show it quickly. Yeah, so if we go to the Valence guides, yep. So Portal user guide, Portal admin, Nitro app builder, but you can search in there. Like, let's say I'm searching for the data chat widget. So you could just click on that in there and it'll take you to the appropriate documentation for the data chat. But basically in app builder before the documentation we had totally admit was lacking.
Hmm.
Um, Everything should be totally up to date now. Like all features, all app variable linkages, widget bind properties, all that stuff. So,
Yeah, good point. I forgot about that.
Lucas is asking if the test suites uses the assistant.
Um, I
I know.
I
That's what I said.
don't, Lucas, I don't, I will get back to you on that. I don't actually remember if it does or not.
If it does, it's very minimal.
Right, right. But I don't remember if it does. I'd have to look. I'd have to look. Yeah, but it would be super minimal. But if it was, but look, I can respond back to you on that once we like go and take a
Yeah.
look. I just don't remember actually.
So, yeah, I think I think we did pretty much.
A
There
good
are other
overview.
things new in 6.4 that, I'm sure we didn't touch on, but these are pretty much the higher level items.
Right. And then assume that developer diaries going forward for a bit will be like deep dives in some of this stuff because it will take normally we try to do the 15-30 minutes call like developer diaries, so we can't do all of this in
Right.
one. So is there, I guess right now, I mean we're at 10:43, but are anybody have any questions at all before we end our session?
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye bye.